Okay, that's cool. That's cool. When are we live? Now. All right, cool. So as I was explaining that.
Recording now.
No problem. Maybe let me start talking when you start recording. Okay. Welcome everyone to Ikhambi Natural Healing Sunday session. Menzi Maseko, ngihamba no Nelly, Nkosi. Sawubona Nelly, Nkosi.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Nelly Nkosi, for those who do not know me. I am part of the Healing team. Yes.
Yes. So welcome everyone. Excuse me.
Yes, your camera. Your camera is off.
Yes. Let me fix that. Yes. So as we were saying on Ikhambi session, on this Sunday healing sessions, we deal with the great powers of healing that African people have been endowed with. And we've been given great mandates to be healers of the world. We have all the different knowledge systems from East Africa to Southern Africa, West Africa. And here today, as we are gathered as Ikhambi Natural Healing Session, we follow the calendar system, the Kemetic African Royal Calendar, which was repurposed by Ngiza from the Great Empire of Kemet. And in that calendar, this is the season which begins on the 23rd of February to the 23rd of March. Excuse me?
22nd.
22nd, okay, all right, that's specific. Usually it starts on the 23rd, but it's important this one started on the 22nd, and a very important number, which they call a palindrome. But maybe we will discuss that also, the importance of numbers. But without further ado, the natural power, the divine force that we concentrate on in this season is called Geb, Nkosi Umhlaba. He is called the father of African civilizations. Some would say it's just the father of Kemetic civilization or ancient Egyptian civilizations. He is known as the father of the gods, so to speak, if we are speaking European English. But for us, we know that he is just the father of Amatongo. Amatongo is Shakalombili, to be specific. He's the father of the 8 divine beings that are known in the Kemetic school of thought. But I was explaining earlier that if you go to West Africa, they have their divine beings depicted in an artistic way. You have King Shango with the powers of thunder and lightning and storms, and you have Ogun, who has the power of making metal and iron and technology and everything to do with fire and metals, right, and gold and different kinds of iron and weapons, and also healing ions. We have Eshu, you have the Oshun, the Great Mother, the goddess, made famous nowadays by Beyonce when she did that video where she's wearing the colors of. I'm not sure if she was Oya or Oshun. She was wearing a yellow robe and depicting all the images of Western Africa as
I think it was Oshun.
Oshun.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes you have to dig up between Oshun and Oya because they both wear their powers have to do with water. But one is the fresh water and the other one is ocean water. So sometimes I'm not sure. And the other one is in blue robes, and blue and white. But sometimes the other one is in yellow. So we can discuss that. This is just an introduction. So throughout Africa, in Southern Africa, we have all these divine powers. Izithunywa zikaMenzi, Maseko sikhuluma ngoMenzi wezinto zonke, which I am named after. Umenzi wezinto zonke has 7 divine beings that are part of his body, that are part of his they are part of his outward appearance. You have Umvelimangi, you have Uma, you have Sotume, you have Usontsondo, you have Nomhoi, all these divine powers. I may not have named them all, but all of them basically human ways of explaining something which is spiritual and divine, and also explaining something which is mathematical. We are explaining mathematical, numerological, scientific principles, but we use a mythological language, and we use traditional and ancestral spiritual language to define these things that we are speaking about. So, without further ado, let me just ask Sister Nelly maybe to read the pledge for us today. We recite the pledge, and then we can begin with our breathing meditation after the pledge, if that's okay.
Okay.
And welcome to everyone who is new. Or not new.
So this is the pledge that we recite every Sunday just to remind ourselves why we're here and just to center ourselves so that we do not speak from self sometimes, that we ask our ancestors to guide us through this conversation and to also let Umvelingangi also guide us through these conversations, you know, and also remind ourselves that we need to respect one another when we engaging, and also remind ourselves the type of healers that we need to be in this world, and also to remember that we need to give back what we have taken from the earth. So I will recite, you can unmute your mics, and then recite after me. So I will say a line and thereafter you will recite after me. So this is the Healer's Pledge, the code of conduct for the group Natural Healing Ikhambi. Singabelaphi, we are healers.
Singabelaphi,
we owe our gifts to nature, our ancestors, and our creator.
We owe our gifts to nature, our ancestors, and
creators.
We live by the principles of Ma'at, Unu, and Ubuntu.
We live by the principles of Ma'at, Unu, Ubuntu.
We will approach each other with respect, honesty, and compassion.
We will approach each other with respect, honesty, and compassion.
We will offer our advice, recommendations, and ideas with trust.
We will offer advice,
recommendations, and ideas with trust.
We will neither insult, dishonor, nor abuse one another.
We will neither insult, dishonor, nor abuse one another.
We will share, practice, promote, and raise awareness about natural healing.
We will share, practice, promote, and raise awareness about natural.
Healthy lifestyles and well-being.
Healthy lifestyles
and well-being.
We will refrain from posting negative information.
We will refrain from posting negative
information.
We will refrain from posting irrelevant information and falsehoods.
We will refrain from posting
irrelevant information and falsehoods.
Singabelaphi, we are healers.
Singabelaphi, we are healers.
Our gifts are a gift to humanity and nature.
Our gifts are a gift to humanity
and nature.
We will give back to nature what it has abundantly given us.
We will give back to nature what it is abundantly
given to us.
Mark, yes. Can you please lead us into a breathing meditation?
Yes, certainly. So let us all be present in mind, present in. Let us be present in our hearts, and let us be present in all aspects of our being, and concentrate just on our breathing, as a leaders in this breathing meditation, we are asking our ancestors, we are asking the Creator, the Almighty, our ancestors to be present with us so that we conduct this work with the respect that is due to the healing practice and the healing sciences of which we are engaged in. We are learners, we are students, we do not pretend to know it all, but we are here to share, especially today. It's a roundtable discussion where we are discussing Umhlaba, the great power, the power called gap. So just take one deep breath in, hold it in your chest, in your body, and breathe out from long. You take another deep breath in. Hold it. Honor the gift of life and the gift of breath. And breathe out from long with your mouth. Take another deep breath in. And breathe out. And then just relax your shoulders, move your shoulders back and forth, back and forth. Take another deep breath in. Hold that breath. Give thanks for the presence of the natural forces. Give thanks for the sun, for the earth, and all the elements of life. And breathe out with your mouth. Siyabonga, siyathokoza, sicamayo, bayethe, to those who came before us, and give honor to our ancestors and to our children. We give honor to all the guides that are with us in everything that we do, and we ask for wisdom as we begin this session. Nkosi, can you start us off? What comes to your mind when it comes to this great power called Umhlaba, Geb, Nkosi Umhlaba, Nkosi Yamakhosi? What is on your mind today about Geb? Make your computer easier to use. Are you here? What's that to say?
No, I forgot to unmute. I was talking and I was on mute. Apologies.
You're talking to Abagin instead of talking to us. Okay, what comes to your mind? Tell me. Tell us.
Okay. So when we speak of Father Earth, the first thing that actually comes to my mind was a discussion or an interview that I once watched Kamkulu Umada from Venda, you know. I think it was done by Afro-Theory, if I'm not mistaken. And what that elder actually said was quite profound in terms of the importance of earth, because we often think of land as farming and shelter only, like a place where we build houses at, and where we farm and get whatever produce, and for our own sustenance and for resale, and maybe probably gain wealth from it. However, how he highlighted some of the issues was that there are certain herbs that grow in specific areas. And because now a lot of the land, some of those areas have been privatized or are in the hands of certain individuals who do not understand our African knowledge system and how our things used to work, how our traditions and healing works. We find that there's now a problem in terms of sourcing of the healing herbs, and that's why we find ourselves in a situation that is now similar to oh my nan 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 nan, and he said to me, he wasn't speaking to me, hey, but I felt like he was speaking to me. Anyway, but the way that he said it was that sometimes as a healer, you would get a dream about a specific herb, and your ancestors will guide you in terms of where you should source that herb. And that in itself, even if the herb is available where you are meant to source it, there's probably a reason why your ancestors actually want you to source that herb at that specific space, or at that specific piece of land. So for me, the gist of that conversation, what I got is that land is quite important as a nutrient provider, and not a place where we live, and a healing herb provider, and not just healing herbs, but also our crystals. You find them on earth. They are still minerals that you derive from the soil, the earth. And when I think of land again, it's our last resting place. When we ascend, this physical body also gets buried and immersed into the soil. And it kind of makes me think about the cycle, in the completeness of a cycle in some way. Utule, ashes to ashes, in some way, yeah.
So your first thought when it comes to the land is really about burial.
Not just about burial. It's shelter, nutrients, healing. And when I say healing, like healing herbs and crystals, as well as
yes,
a source of energy as well, because when you walk barefoot with your feet on soil, there is some form of vibration that actually goes on there, and you absorbing that power onto you, as a person.
It's very important. I want to touch on the first part that you mentioned about when, as Africans, we are dealing with a situation where our land is not our own. As much as it has been, we are custodians of the land, we are stewards of the land. The creators, our great ancestors, bestowed unto us this great rich land, which has got every mineral, every nutrient, and everything. Yet the land, we have been conquered, and the land is in the hands of people who think of land mostly in a commercial way. Yet for us, land is everything. It's where our people are buried for thousands of years. We have ancestors under the soil. Our food comes from there. Everything, basically, the land is everything. Yet we have jobs, we have degrees, masters, doctorates. We have many things which, we could say, are important for the attainment of a good life on the surface level. But when we are landless, we are really unrooted, we are unhealthy, we are not well, basically, when we do not have land. I do not care whether your house is in Sentin or it's in the highest skyscraper in Durban or wherever. But if you cannot go back to the land, if you don't have Ikaya, if you don't have Ispire, if you don't have Umusama, if you do not have all these things, which basically, like the electricity, I'm not an electrician, but Kuma electric current, there's earth. Can you remind me what else is there? There's earth.
Yeah? I don't know. I know them by their colors. I know there's green, yellow, and brown.
Help us there. There's the earth, and then there's what? When you are wires. Tell me.
It's earth, and then life, and then neutral.
There's earth, life, and there's neutral. Right.
Yes.
Where, if you could describe African people in terms of an electrical connection, where are we? Are we neutral, or are we earthed, or are we missing something?
We would, as beings, we wouldn't be categorized into any of those individually. They don't stand there as silos, but work together It touches on that discussion we had on a human being being a multidimensional species. So
can I ask quickly, what happens if we are not earthed?
We lose ourselves. We lose ourselves. Just tying back to that example you gave now, yeah, having a skyscraper in Durban, but you cannot go touch down as by any Msamo. No, it doesn't matter in any other way. You exist, but not essentially. You're just there. You are not connected. You are disconnected. It is similar to leaving home when you are in Ngamani, right?
Yes.
You can't just come to Centurion and then you are Menzi and you're this nice guy we know.
Yes.
We've got to tie you to some root.
Yes.
Yeah. We have got to tie you to some food.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I just want to again emphasize this point again. I want to ask for those who understand proper electrical currents, what is the purpose of the earth part of these three different electrical currents? What is the purpose of it? What does it do? Earthing. I'm not talking on a human level. I'm talking about purely electronic. If you do not connect the earth part of the wires, of these three wires, what happens?
Right. What happens is, in a system like a car, you've got a multi-departmental system that is electrical. You've got systems that run your lighting. You've got a system that runs your engines. It's electrical, but it helps connect the parts electrically. And then you've got air cons and other things. I mean, in today's cars, you have like a lot of systems, right? Earth manages conflict in the systems. If there is any form of conflict in the wiring systems, the Earth shuts that conflict down and sends it, it grounds the conflict. And this is what's going to happen. The shortest way to explain it, if there's no Earth, the vehicle or the whatever, or the house must catch fire electronically.
Thank you for that. So that's what I said.
The Earth is there to absorb the conflict from all the other systems, sends it into ground.
Thank you for that. So that's very important because one of the functions of GAP, the net that we call GAP, that we are commemorating and studying today, is conflict resolution, especially within families. I would like Nkosi to touch a bit on that. The fact that, you can also speak maybe beforehand. The issue is that Ugeb, according to the teaching of ancient Kemet, is the one, firstly, we already mentioned, is the father of the gods, the father of the Amatongo, Amadal, the primordial beings that existed before human beings were existing. He is the father of those 8. But at the same time, he is called the resolver of conflict. So he was there. We all know, for those who study Egypt, there was a conflict between Set and Osar. Oh no, in fact, he resolves the conflict between Heru and Set. So in that conflict resolution function of Ugeb, he brings the sky god, who is the Heru, and the desert god, the one who presides over foreign lands and borders and all that. So he deals with border resolutions. He deals with issues of, let's say, there is a drought because of a heavy sun. The sun is too heavy and there's no rain. The weather is not in equilibrium. It's unbalanced. Geb says, let everything come down to the ground and let's talk. Let's resolve this thing because we all come from the same creator. Let's become now the best that we can be, rather than conflicting eventually. Later I will explain why I am mentioning this with regards to the conflicts that are happening in the world, not just outside or Ukraine or Russia, but the conflicts within Africa and the conflicts within ourselves as Africans right here. But Nkosi.
The role of UGEB as a conflict resolver. Sorry?
I'm saying as a guide in conflict resolution.
The season of Gab actually reminds me of when you speak about conflict. It reminds me that the chakra that is associated with the Gab is the root culture. Is chakra. English. It's the root chakra, And I'm just thinking to myself is that when you are grounded, and as a human being, it is not easy to have conflict within yourself, because a lot of the time when we are in conflict with others, there is an imbalance, as Mohaile has just rightfully stated. There is an imbalance of something. Either we are not understanding each other, or either we are not hearing what or something. But there's something that is not right. That is not. Yeah, shut that corner, But a lot of the time, the conflict arises because if I also don't have problems of my own, and for me as a person, and I'm seeing this quite a lot of times, is that people who are able to spread negative energies are the very same people who are hurt, hurt people, and if you're not grounded and to on your grounded in some way, you will continue to be floating around without any direction, and you will end up infecting other human beings. With that energy, I would so to say. So that's what I thought when you said Geb is the conflict resolver, is that if you're not grounded and you don't have your root chakra balanced, which is why most of the time we always say that before you try to balance any other chakra, you must start with your root chakra, because that is the chakra that relates to self more than anything else. It relates to your heritage, where you come from, your lineage, and everything that has to do with you, And if in your bloodline there is something that is not right, it is always best to say, okay, before I embark on these big ass things, start opening my third eye or anything like that, I need to be grounded first. If there's old wounds within my bloodline that need to be healed, then maybe I need to do a constellation to heal those wounds first before now starting to open my third eye. Imagine being a healer and you're still not, you still are suffering from ancestral traumas, because there's traumas that we go through in our own lives. And then there's traumas that we inherit from our ancestors. And then imagine being a healer. Would you not be infecting people constantly? And also a conflict, for me, I see conflicts in some way, not all the time, but in some way as you going there and just you're going somewhere and you're just going there to create pits. And sometimes the pits that we create, they have nothing to do with the person that we're creating pits with. They probably are rooted within ourselves. They're the insecurities that we have within ourselves. And that, for me, when it comes to UGEB, go do some introspection, because you are the common denominator, and start your own healing first and grounding work. Do your own grounding work first. I don't know if anybody wants to
very, 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 very necessary. Yeah, that's very necessary. A lot of healers are going around saying that they are healing people, but they are infecting them, in fact. So that's the reason why I even did a live Instagram once upon a time where I was talking about it. Some people may have taken it as a personal attack. I've got some calls, people saying, what do you mean we are exploiting people when we overcharge, or when we charge, or when we charge the way we charge, or the things that we do? And people actually called me, and some WhatsApped me or dropped me messages to say, my message, it's against the livelihood of the healers. I was not talking to that. I was talking about the fact that there's a whole lot of profiteering and exploitation happening in the name of healing. Sometimes the people that are doing the healing, they may not even know just how much healing that they need in order. It's like this word, like we come to this about cleansing, cleansing from issues of our sexual habits, cleansing from issues of our eating habits, cleansing from situations of our environmental, the things we pick up in the environment. We spoke about various herbs, we spoke about various meditation things that we needed. Okay, no, it's okay. We'll do that. Mukhaili wants to share the screen to make a point. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. So the point,
he's able to share, but he will say after you done with that, he should be able to share.
Okay, he will be able to share. So the point is that it's not just about the healers. We can't be natural healing. The primary reason why we started these conversations of Ikhambi Sunday healing sessions was to give ordinary people, not to say that our traditional healers are not important. They are very important. But we're doing this so that we can give people amatuluzi, give people the skills to heal themselves, the knowledge. Go out and seek knowledge. And we are here just being a portal of knowledge so that you can say, okay, you need these elements on a particular month, a particular season, when the moon or the sun or the eclipse or the solstice is at a particular time. These are the things that can enhance the healing ability. These are the things that can enhance your empowerment ability, because it's not always just about healing. It's also about having the right level of consciousness. Like there was Umhlaba. When you spoke about Umhlaba, we're not just talking about, yes, it's important. We get herbs from there, we get roots, we get amakhambi, eswadingayo for ukuzelapha. But ukwelapha does not only end with the body. The ukwelapha that we are speaking about, like Ikhambi, it's also social, it's also global, universal, but it's also cosmic. There are conflicts that are happening on an earth level, but there are conflicts that are happening on the ether level, beyond space, where there are spirits from our own ancestral lines. Sometimes they are busy in the sky causing conflicts, both for us and for other people, because they are not at rest. They were put on earth, they were put down here on earth, either through situations of war or through the crimes of colonialism and all different crimes that humanity is engaged in. They need cleansing. Those souls need cleansing. So we are speaking about healing on a huge holistic level, so that we can heal ourselves. As we heal ourselves, we heal our society, and as we heal our society, we start also with Mother Africa first. Let this great continent, which possesses a lot of wisdom and healing, be totally healed, so that we can move on to the level of now, okay, Tina is right as Africans and as Black people globally. Now let's move on into the rest of humanity, which also needs healing. Because imagine if there's no conflict, we don't want to be a Wakanda. We are not a fictional Wakanda. We don't want to be this kingdom which has got great powers, yet the rest of the world is in conflict. We need to arrive at a space whereby once our family conflicts, our national conflicts are resolved, then we can start resolving the conflicts of humanity, because humanity is awaiting Africa's intervention, even though they have suppressed us, oppressed us, they enslave us, they fight against us. But we are here not to fight, we are here to heal. Just lastly, I must quote a reggae song. One of my favorite reggae artists, Ake Becker, from the Midnight reggae group. He says, revenge is not our plan, but our plan is to rebuild the broken man. When he talks about the broken man, he's talking about firstly the African, and he's talking about the rest of humanity, both the ones who are existing and the ones who are undead. You know, we have issues of spirits of the undead, which cause conflict amongst the living. So Gab comes to resolve all those family conflicts, the human family conflicts, and beyond. But right now we are focusing on Umhlaba, the ground level. And then from the ground up, everything that goes up then must come down to the ground again. Ashe. Mukhaile, you wanted to raise a point and by sharing this, so please go ahead, and then we'll take comments and questions from the rest of the family.
Thank you, King. Yeah? So here's what I wanted to add to what we're discussing. We tend to get fixated a lot, especially when you talk of these greater beings like Ogeb or Nut, and the ones that are a little distance from us as humans, because we get preoccupied with the humanly things, right? You know, Ogeb is so big and capable that we are underutilizing his infrastructure, right? One of the reasons why a king in the past had to be a spiritually adept person was that they needed to get messages as well from Ogeb in terms of what is happening, what is coming, and what was in the past, and how could they move to steer the community in the right fruitful direction, if you want to say that. So in the olden times, kings were spiritually gifted people. So there would be rituals in the villages which were directed at Gab. For example, on my image here, I've got a little ant hill, right? Ant hill is but one of the many resources that Ogeb has provided to us as humanity to one, communicate with the realms that are outside the human sphere, and two, also to communicate with the ancestry that is not within our clans, but still within the human's realm, right? We see it today as a little anthill dwell and stay, but this is a very big resource provided by Gab, right? And it is one but many. You look at a waterfall, or call it a river if you like. It is another resource provided to us by Gab that we ought as humans know how to fully utilize. This is not stuff used by Ongoma alone. No, just any human. This is resources that are at our disposal to use as humans to ground, to multiply, to balance, and all the other things. And we have got free stuff as well. Food is not only that which we farm ourselves. No, Ogeb also provides the natural stuff. You see, there are food that just are available in the wilderness, and they are for everyone. They are for the humans. They are for the animals. I feel that we need to learn more about this deity and the resources that they provide to us as humans. It's a very big resource. You could never get to complete. I mean, just in conclusion for this bit, the image you have in front of you now, this is a tree, Kasipedi, we call Mohalo, right? Mohalo is a tree that we use to collect the spirits of the dead from wherever the soul split from the body, where a person died, for example, and then to
You're not showing a tree at the moment, my brother. You're showing a mound.
What is it still a mound?
Yes.
For example, let me just quickly do this. Let's share this one. Share. Sorry, what do you see now?
Marula, is that a marula tree?
That marula fruit that you've got here.
Ah, there. It's not a marula tree. Kasipedi we call the Khalo, right? I'll tell you its Nguni name just now. But what I wanted to say about this tree is, one, it's a resource by game. Firstly, as a food resource. If you're walking in the wild, this is the foodstuffs you have got access to. That's one. When our ancestors walked, my ancestors walked from Malawi all the way to here. Others walked from Eswatini all the way to here. So on their way there, they didn't have to cook anything. This is what they ate, right? It's a resource that's there, freely available to everyone. Secondly, this tree is what we call mohar. We use this tree to collect the souls of the departed from one place to a relevant realm. For example, at an accident scene, we will bring a branch of this tree to come and fetch the soul, because once the soul split from the body, it cannot move in any way. So we need this tree to come and fetch it. So now, this is now Gab working in relation with the other realms now, with other deities, transposing the souls from this realm to other realms. So imparting Mafetu, Gab is big, is bigger than the shelter at home, is bigger than the water out of your tap, you know, it's bigger than the soil in your yard that your kids are playing at. He is a multi-resourced entity. So we have got, as humans, I think, learn more about him and what more he has got to give to us as humans, to all these things, to balance, to live, to ground, to do all those things just on his own. He's a multiple resourced deity. That's where I would like to leave this one for now.
Thank you so much for that. Last, another point related to the fact of his multi-purpose is the fact that he connects sky and earth.
That is very, very important. From what Brother Mikhail has just said, I'm actually, the first word that actually comes into my mind is, I'm not sure if you still want to continue sharing or do you want to stop sharing, brother?
No, for that session when I go, I'm done. Thanks.
Okay, I think you can, what's this, stop the share.
Thank you.
Thank you. So when I think of what's this, what Brother Mikhail has just said right now, you know, I think of the first word that popped into my mind was mediator, you know, and when he showed Istuli, I just thought that, you know what, Father Earth plays a crucial role in terms of us in our spirituality, not just the source for rejuvenating the energy levels in our body, and just also providing the grounding as well. But I'm just thinking that when all else fails, ekhaya, you know, we are told ukuthi idlozi ulkhwaza entabeni or estulini, you know, especially if you want to speak to ancestors that like I don't know if it actually makes sense the word that I just said. You go yes, with this conflict, you just go and speak to Father Earth, like speak to your ancestors in Dabin or and actually you don't even need to go to a healer, which goes back to the point that Menzi was saying, that when we first started these sessions, it was to empower people to know the basics of healing yourself, you know, without having to constantly run to to a healer. A healer is just like a doctor, you know. You don't go to a doctor when you've got a scratch, you know, a tiny scratch. You don't go to a doctor when you don't always. Sometimes you need to. You don't always go to a doctor when you've got a common cold, you know. And for us, for us, these sessions are to empower people to almost say, okay, what can I do to aid myself? What are the basics that I can do to aid myself? And this is just one of them, and it's very, very powerful, that ant hill and the waterfall thingy when you cleanse, but guys, also what I wanted to say is that when we respect these nature spaces, they also in turn respect us, or allow us to use them. Sometimes you find people who, oh, Velo went and he never came back, or he went to the water and he was gone, you know. And some of the issues that are around that happening is purely around us disrespecting those sacred spaces. And yeah, so Father Earth plays a very crucial and significant role when it comes to when all else fails a jardin. If you can't and you're not permitted to do things a certain way, you just go to nature spaces and you just call upon your ancestors, especially for those who probably say have conflict with I would say maybe their paternal side of the family, and you can't go to the homestead, or you're too far to actually go to the homestead. You just go to Estulini and you go to the mountain, KwaZulu-Natal. That is my 2 cents.
Excuse me, someone was calling me, and I'm telling them that I'm I'm on a session. Abantu bavamile ukufona ngalesi sikhathi. So it's just that, excuse me, I can't share right now. I'm going to share soon. I'm charging my phone and I can't make it stand while I'm charging somehow. I agree with everything that you've mentioned here. You know, Gab is so primarily important. But let me, before I speak, can I ask if there's any questions from our people that have gathered around us? If there are any questions pressing in their hearts, in their mind, questions or comments before we carry on? There's a lot of information to share. We are only touching really 20%. You're on mute, Coco.
I was checking on Facebook whether there is questions from that end for the people that are joining through Facebook.
So if there's no comments, we can just continue a bit. People can also comment. Feel free to comment on the chat and on Facebook for those of us who are on Facebook. Just make any comments or questions. We are here to assist each other. I just want to read something here that Mkhulu Ntsigiza wrote on the meditation part of the book, the Kemet African Royal Calendar and the Ancestral Prayers. In the section called under Geb, called Ukujula Kumcabango Meditation, he writes, Idlozi elikhulu lingilulele isandla, ngidalwe yilo, izimbali zokufakazelwa zibekwe esiphongweni sami, ngiyaphila mina ntandokazi kababa wayo, owasungula impilo, unginika ifa lakhe, amasimu akhe anikezwa mina. This passage for me, as much as it's a meditation, it reminds me of the importance of inheritance. I said earlier that as African people, we are living our inheritance has been stolen by certain people who may call themselves other private owners of the land or capitalists, whichever term you like to use. Now, in the prayer, in the contemplation as it is written here, it is explaining in a nutshell that Ugeb or Umhlaba, the earth that we are walking on, has given us wealth, has given us means to great health, has given us a intergenerational wealth. But as soon as we arrive on earth, we start to discover everything that has been given to us is taken away by a system that is against us, that is against our rightful living. This is more pronounced amongst Black people. But if you look at the rest of the world also, the conflicts that we are seeing are about someone from a different place coming to another land to take the powers, to take away the sovereignty, to take away the peace, to take away the means of prosperity and the means of well-being of another land. So now, and then people are caught up in the conflict of having to decide who's your friend, who do you support, and who do you not support, you see. So Tina, we are like those Buddhists who say there is a middle way. It's not about the aggressor or the one who is being attacked. What is most important is to get to the source, to get to the root of the conflict. And in my estimation and in my meditation, the root of the conflict is not just between the different powers, like Shabin. The conflict is in the heart. The one who decides to attack the other and the one who decides to make decisions that are going to cause themselves to be attacked, they both need to do some introspection and ask, just like Africans are being asked, what was the issue between you and your ancestors that they allowed you to be conquered? A lot of African kingdoms, a lot of different healers, different parts of Africa have asked that question. Why were we not strong enough to defend ourselves against the aggressors? Because we had spiritual powers, we had powers of will, powers of weapons, besides technology, advanced technology, whatever. Many different African kingdoms have defended themselves against thousands of invaders. So we ask ourselves, in order to resolve today's conflict, what is at the root of the problem? While I'm speaking about that, I'd like to ask Nkosi, is there any, in terms of Ikhambi, what is Geb associated with, and what are the properties maybe of those Ikhambi that we may use to resolve basically maybe physical ailments or even social ailments that we are speaking about? Are there any herbs and stones that are primary for Geb season?
Just give me a second so that, because there's notes that we did in terms of the focus. There's quite a lot. Just give me a second just to pull out those notes.
Here is what I have.
Oh, by the way, while you are looking,
they
say the incense that is necessary during Geb is patchouli. It's a herb that they use a lot in India and in Middle Eastern countries, and even in Ethiopia, Sudan, and all that. It's very hard to find. In ancient times, the was on a hebut, but nowadays it's called patchouli. For those who want to Google it and see what it is good for, you spell the word Patchouli, patchouli. It's a very almost like minty type of incense. You use that incense when you do your prayers and you are asking for the wisdom. As Mukhaile was saying, that kuningi that we are getting from Geb, but if we study further, we will find out even more than the stuff that we are sharing right now. And each ember and amaka, amanya amasent, like maybe say you want to use it on your body, it's olive. Gogo, that is interesting because noheru na is associated with olive. And the olive, for those who studied the Bible and all that, We know that it was used to anoint amakos, olive oil. Umnqumo, bathi ngesiZulu isihlahla somnqumo, you know, and then those essential oils that make you smell nice, as Shoni is saying, they don't only make you smell nice, they also attract certain good energies towards you. They're for the smell, but they're also good for your skin. They're good for the energy around you. So sometimes when we go to Edgar's or to these shops and we buy these nice perfumes that we like, what is in it and what is it attracting?
That is very profound.
I used to like, Coco, please unmute your mic, but I used to like smell, you know, when I'm cool, because I'm from a location. I used to like the way guys, our brothers and sisters from the country, maybe about December or during holidays, when the guys from the countryside come around to a location, so Bagashelani, Makai, and all that. The guys from a location don't smell the same as the guys and girls from Emakaya. You know, but the smell is strong, Labo brothers. But I would buy unclean, they are very clean. You know, in fact, sometimes they're even cleaner than us. But other or a blend of whatever is used on the wall, like bulongwe or certain kinds of soils that are in there. So the smell, I used to be fascinated as a youth. I was fascinated by how our brothers and sisters from the country smell. And I liked that smell. My mother and my other people hated it. They said, it smells like a car. But it was not, it had nothing to do with being unclean. It had everything to do with the essence of the place that they are growing up around. Roll on.
I've got this extension of your question.
Yes, Kok.
Umkulu wanted to say something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem.
Brother?
Your volume is low, Coco, but you can talk.
An extension to your question where you ask about which Amakambi could be related to gap, ne? Would we, you know when you come from the villages, there are these things, right? For example, we have these beasts that live in the forests around the villages, right? One of them would be these Nkanyambas that live in the water or in the mountains. There's always these beasts around the village. Would we not say those are agents or representatives of gap here on earth, and that their essence have been lost because Amakosi way to have disconnected from that old setting? Zoguti, a chief must be a spiritually adept person or gifted person, because those used to be resources, and I think they still are resources, but they're just not used because people have disconnected. Would you not say that in that context there, when I'm good? Or is it gone?
No, I'm hearing. Can you? I was hearing about the disconnection of the kings, but it's just my volume is rather low, so I'm trying to fix that.
Oh,
it's because someone
the
called
question
on WhatsApp
was,
and I was trying to deal with it. I'm not sure why the volume is like totally
in the villages.
Open the foot. Please ask about the disconnection of the kings.
What I was saying is, in the villages, you have got beings that are supernatural, and they're just known to reside around the village. There would be an evergreen well not far from the village, or there would be a river where you've got a little green patch that's just for evergreen. And then also in the in the little forest in the mountain, there'll be maybe a biggest python you've ever heard of, or whatever it is. There's always this thing. In every village, they've got this thing going on. Are those not resources, Ziga Gap, that should still be used? And now that we have disconnected from that thing, Amakosi originally were spiritually inclined people, and today no more. Are those not resources that we would otherwise have access to? to use
Let me
as a
answer that.
village?
Let me
or as
answer
a
that with something
clans?
that. Okay, let me answer that by saying something that I've been saying a lot lately in various different platforms, including in the Africology Center.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So the issue of the disconnectedness of our kings and leadership in general, whether it's political leadership, family leadership, and all that, it all emerges from the abandonment of imikos. I hope people understand. I'm always trying to explain this, but when I'm speaking about imikos, I'm not just talking about Nkosi Umhlaba. You know, people say a lot about Nkosi Umhlaba, both positive and negative. Khona nemkhosi lona of the ritual of ukweshwama. Kukhona nemkhosi which is called you know, amongst the Amaxhosa and Abambo and all that. Nkosi, the thing of circumcision and all that, which is facing a lot of conflict, a lot of deaths of youths and all that, misuse of culture and all that. But when I'm speaking about imikhosi, I'm talking about observances that are yearly, that depend on the time of the year, that depend on what's happening in nature. The things that I think GEK and other movements, very few of them, are trying their best to reconnect us with. You know, when Nkulu says that we need to reconnect with our calendar, because the calendar we use, besides the issues of Amakos, the royal houses, what are they doing? Because most of them have become born again, either they are Christians, so they believe certain of these Nkosi, they should not be observed because they are not part of the plan of the God of Israel and his son, who either existed or not existed, depending on what your research, where your research takes you. The point is this: imikhosi esilandelayo manje, imikhosi which are based on a calendar which is not ours. If they are based on a calendar that is not ours, it means even the spirits that they invoke, whether it's Valentine's Day, whether it is Easter, whether it is even some of this democratic mikosi that we are celebrating. Firstly, in the democratic dispensation in South Africa, they first remove the name. If you say it's King Dingane's Day, you must remove King Dingane because it's only for the Zulus. If it's Shaga's Day, no, you cannot be called Shaga's Day, it must be called Heritage. Or if it's this or that. So even I'm sure amongst our other ethnic groups, our other languages, our other family members, whether Besuthu, Abapedi, Abatswana, Abakhatla, we are diverse, but there's things that unite us. And they require people to go to the river, they require people to go to the mountain, they require people to go and sleep over maybe 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, how many days, and do certain rituals in a particular forest. Now that forest belongs to the national parks now. That mountain now cannot be accessed because even we who are healers have gone and abused the mountain. We leave candles there, we leave on plastic there, even ourselves, because we are dislocated from nature. We don't even see when we are actually insulting nature by polluting nature. So the kings are polluted, the healers are polluted. In order to heal both the kings and the healers, we need ordinary people within families to take it upon themselves to live the life of cleanliness, to live the life that exemplifies Ubuntu Bethu. And Ubuntu Bethu has 3 pillars, and I'm repeating this again, it's something that I say in every platform when people ask about culture, or about amasiko, or about rituals, or whatever. I say, before you get to the slaughtering of a chicken, or a cow, or a goat, first observe these 3 things, which are the pillars of African knowledge systems. Inhlanzeko, cleanliness, both physical, mental, and heart. Is your heart clean? Is your mind clean? Is your hands clean? Is your body clean? Cleanliness. Inhlonipho, second one, which is respect, self-respect, respect of children, respect of elders, and respect for the truth. Because you can have elders who are totally wrong and they demand respect, yet they want to be respected for all the wrong reasons. So that one, it takes discernment, And where do you get to Klaganipa? You get to Klaganipa through quietness, meditation, listening to the inner voice, listening to the earth, letting your ancestral lineage speak to you and speak through you so that you can have isithunzi and that authority. Now, amongst us, khona imithi, khona abantu abathenga imithi to get isithunzi or to get self-respect or to be attractive. If you go to these multi-markets, it's full of imithi for attractiveness. But umuntu wants to be attractive by force, wants to bath and use all these bath salts and gaba, halas and all these things. But they have not started by searching their heart. They have not started by searching their mind. They have not started by searching a relationship between themselves and other people, you know, but they want to just wash the top skin with these salts and bath salts and all these herbs, which are good herbs. The herbs are good, but they need to be assisted by you being of the right frame of mind. So that's my answer to that question about our kings. So there's the powers. God has given us all the powers in nature. Nature is willing to help us. It is us and our relationship to nature. Our dislocation, as Uras Heru always reminds us. The problem with us is that we are so dislocated with nature. We think that we are different than a blade of grass or a tree growing out there. We think we are superior because we've been fed an ideology that says that mankind is the master supreme. He is greater than the dog. A human being is greater than the lion. A human being is greater than an elephant because a human being has powers to subdue all these things. You know, so that's a misuse of our intelligence. It's the misuse of Nkosi. And then also it's the abuse of ourselves. We are depleting the earth by constantly ignoring basic signals that we are given every day that the earth is not happy with the way we are living. The earth is depressed. That's why we are depressed. The ancestors are depressed, which is why we are depressed. So the relationship with all of that, including our calendar, including izinto esizenza on a daily basis, our habits, which become our ritual, which becomes spiritual, which becomes ubuntu bethu. It is all dislocated, and we can reconnect only by starting with respecting our nature, understanding that we are of a divine nature. We are not of a human nature only. We are of both natural being, but we are also divine beings, spiritual beings. So everything else is just speculation and ideologies, Menzi's idea or someone else's idea. But if we connect with nature, most of these problems, we can actually solve them very easily.
I just wanted to add,
you observe Nkosi Umhlanga and you come back to the same situation. You observe Nkosi, but at the same time, if Nkosi is not observed properly by the rest of the nation, that means when you come back wiser, but the rest of the world that you are living in is unwise to the things that you already know, the things that you learned in the mountains, the messages that you received in your dreams, and the messages you received in the forest or in the river. They are of no use to a people who are busy trying to survive on a material level, you know. So you're coming with all this wisdom about how we must behave, how we must act so that we can be saved from ourselves and saved from the enemies of our body and our mind and our land. If you come back from, if we do these things in silos, we will not win the spiritual war that is going on right now.
Just to add, Umkhulu, while he's still on the topic of Nkosi, at the end of season Yaga Gap, it's a time called, I don't know it in any other language, it's Lilo Siganom Kubulwane. This is when the sun starts moving away from being closer to us, and then it's Lilo Siganom Kubulwane. I don't even want to try and explain because I don't think I know how to explain it properly. I don't think I know how to explain it properly. But yeah, at the end of the season, it marks the end of harvest season. So by the time you must have stored reserves for the time that we, like, this is a time from, so I don't know, it's the 3 months preceding this. So it's Gap, it's Heru, and then it's who was before Heru? Nkulu. So yeah. So those were the times of what's this of abundance, where there was the earth was giving quite a lot. That's why we had harvest and everything like that. And the items that were there that were extra, these are not items that you can just throw away or let them spoil or whatnot. But these are items that you store away from the times where there is going to be scarcity, because there is times during the course of the year where there is scarcity, particularly even around the time Yaga said, I think there's a lot of scarcity around that time as well. So this time is, you should have by now stored and reserved all the things that are abundant abundant for use during the time when there is no abundance. So yeah, at the end of the month, while Umkhulu was talking about Imikosi, I just needed to remind everybody that we've got Islidos Kanomkubulwane at the end of season gap, which is like the 22nd, 23rd, and it marks the end of harvest season.
Sorry, Coco, can you please add, go back to my question about the other healing herbs that I'm not sure if you've raised it already. It's just that my volume is rather low. I can't hear very well. Do you have other herbs that you have in mind that are rooted together?
Well, I do, but you know what the problem is? We wrote them in the not botanical name, like in the what's the scientific name?
It doesn't matter. We'll write the names as they are, whether it's a Sutu, Tswana, Spade.
No, we didn't write them in the Sutu, like proper names. We wrote the scientific names. So.
Oh, okay, we only have the scientific names, but so these things, but they do exist. I'm not sure if I'm putting you on the spot. You can say the scientific names, surely.
No, it's fine.
So people can search them online.
Yeah, apart from the herb. I was saying that I just wanted to share other properties for Gap. So it's the color for Gap is brown. It's brown. So if you want to enhance the energy of Gap around you, so it's funny because our skin is brown, guys. So if you want to enhance the energy of Gap, you must just put like brown, surround yourself with a whole lot of brown, and the metal is a bronze, incense, and then the mineral is olive, and then the animals that are associated with the seasons is the goose, the duck, the mongoose, and the lizard. So a general notes that we made in Mkhulu was that the Earth Father, who together with the Sky Heavenly Mother gave birth to Osa, Geb is responsible for vegetation, growth, physical support of Earth. He is a sustainer. He is responsible for phenomena such as storms, earthquakes, and earth magic. In the Osa Oset tree of life, Geb represents the 10th sphere, which represents the foundation, balance, and steady assurance.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. So who I like to call Mageba. I call him Mageba for other reasons, but we try very much as one is grown up. I'm raised in the Nguni culture. I try to ensure, that's why we like people to comment from various cultures where they come from, and languages where they come from, so that we can make the connections between all ourselves. These things are not just Zulu things. They are not just Nguni things also. If you speak about Ramasedi, or if you speak about please remind me of this name. Machocholo. What's his name? I think it's
Macholo.
What does that name mean, and what language is it? Is that Sepedi or what, or Tonga?
Tata Macholo is a Sesotho noun. Yes.
It means what?
I knew it a while back, but just slipped my mind. Umucholoko actually describes it in one of his blogs. I will look for it and send it when I'm cool.
No problem. Send it on the Facebook.
No,
send it on our Facebook page if you can, please.
Yes, I'll do that. Dr. Zulu Matabo Zulu has described it very nicely in his blog. So it's a Sesotho word for Ramasedi. It's one of his names in Sesotho.
So it's important for us to know these names, because they are not just names. We know that there are codes linking us to the knowledge that is being lost. Our children, when you say Mvelinqangi, you have to sit down and explain to them. But when you say Jehovah, they jump up, they know exactly what you are talking about. But when you say Ramasedi, very few of us, not just Ramasedi, there's many, like Nomkhulwane is one of the most misunderstood attributes of the Divine Father and the Divine Mother out there, you know. So people just simply say, uNkulunkulu, without examining what this Nkulunkulu itself has a history. There was a time when we were never saying that word, you know, we were saying different words. But it's not just even about saying the words. It's really about understanding what these codes and these principles of nature can do for you as an individual, and also as a family member, and also as a member of the nation, and as a member of the human divine family. So these are the things that here at Ikhambi, we are really, when she speaks about brown, what do you do with this bronze? What do you do with it? She mentioned brown will attract the powers of Geb towards you, but then you don't just wear brown and walk out the house, or you don't just, you know, there are certain things that you have to actually do just to be always connected. Our relationship with our Creator is not a weekend special, you know. We don't do weekend special type of spirituality. We are every single day walking with our ancestors and our divine being, so that we can, so the things that we wear, the things that we touch, the things that the way we smell, the things that we do on a daily basis, the way we think, it's very important. Any comments, perhaps, or questions?
You know what? I actually do believe that we need to ask Umkhulu, because he said something there, and I think if I try to explain it, I am just going to butcher it. You know, he was talking about 666, the relationship of the earth and the sun, and if I just wanted him to come and.
Excuse me, is that a comment from somebody?
No, it's no. Why?
My issue is that the volume in my phone is suddenly, and I've tried everything, it's super low. What about you saying about 666 and the sun?
No. He was talking about the number 666, and then he also touched on the relationship between the earth and the sun. And that's why I was like, oh, we need Umkhulu to explain some of these concepts, you know, and explain them to us in terms of what is it really, you know, because I've always said that before you dismiss something, you must first understand it, because if you don't understand, if you dismiss something simply because you don't understand it, you might end up dismissing yourself in the process, you know? Yeah.
Denying yourself. Yes. As we go towards our conclusion, you know, that thing that you are saying, I quoted you, in fact, in a meeting with another group that I'm in, and we were having a long day, 2-day reasoning. We thought an argument per se, but we were trying to enlighten each other about the issue, the question of archangels. If you're speaking about an archangel, what are you talking about? He's talking about angels in an African setting. Can you speak about angels as an African without mentioning the God of Israel, for example, and Jehovah and his archangels, or Michael, or Raphael, or Ban, all these names? What do they mean to us? Because we know that amongst Abelapi in Southern Africa, you are getting a lot of Abelapi who are either linked to Zionist church, others Baba Apostoli, others Abagashembe. All of them, in a nutshell, they are Christians, but they are also practicing this indigenous healing practices. Some of us find conflict in that, but some of us say it's absolutely fine, you know. So that your statement is reminding me of that. But we have to be discerning, be clear. This,
you know,
our
it's the same
is angelic
as
culture, part of African tradition.
It's the same as accepting something as true simply because a lot of people are saying it's true, you know, and we haven't verified or went and checked what this is. Is it really what it is? Because if you say something, if you repeat a lie long enough, if you repeat a lie long enough, it ends up being the truth. I don't know if you actually understand what I'm saying. If you repeat a lie long enough, it ends up being cited as the truth, and no one will ever remember what the actual truth really is. So even in that sense, when we need to ask questions, challenge a theory until it breaks, you know. And if it doesn't break, like, challenge everything, like, try to understand things, you know. And sometimes when challenging these things, there's also the trueness is that the two truths can exist at the same time. Something being true doesn't necessarily cancel the other out. In some.
Interestingly, one of the elders in another group, which is more a political group, was talking about it wasn't a group, it was something I was watching on YouTube. He was saying that when truth and facts are not exactly the same. Science works with facts, but the truth, he was not saying that it's subjective. He was saying that today, let's say it's raining right now. It is true that it's raining right now. But tomorrow it might not be true, you know, because tomorrow won't be raining. Or even in one moment now it rains and in the next moment it's not raining. Oh, it's true that it was raining. But for someone who did not see that it's rain, is it still true? For someone who's out in a different space or was sleeping while it was raining, we know it's a fact that it rained. It is a fact that the rain happened. You can see the evidence. No, but it's not true for someone who did not experience it. Yeah, I hope you're getting what I'm saying. You know, it's not true also for someone who didn't even see the evidence that it was raining. You know, but that's a different subject.
I don't know. It means when I example something else. Do you know how shady rain is? You know why I'm saying that? Making an example with something that's weird. Rain is shady to the point that it will rain everywhere else, and then there'll be like a piece of land where it's not raining. And if that person sitting in that piece of land says it's not raining, he is telling the truth that it's not raining. Because, like, why did you choose raining. A very shady example? It's the rain is shady.
The reason.
Sorry?
I would say who gave her the reason to keep that particular portion dry.
That's in Ikhambi. In Zulu we say in a Ikhambi, where you find that the distance is not even that much. You can literally see where it stopped. Like it stopped here, literally. It stopped here.
Yeah.
Here.
See, those are scientific things that we are discussing. These basic science, you can look at the clouds, you can understand by understanding how clouds work and how rain works exactly, to know why it can rain in another part of the road and not rain in another part of the road. But the point here is not just really about the rain. I mean, we are speaking about perspective. We are talking about not just perspective, but we are talking about experience and the level of consciousness. So I was responding to what you were saying about taking something as true. It's true in your culture, but it's not true in another person's culture. If it is true that God, the invisible God, which is called by many different names in the biblical or the book, so-called book religions, God is like this, is all powerful, is also jealous, is also this, is also that. He has all these human attributes, but at the same time, he's beyond human. It's true in your culture, but perhaps in my culture, you don't even approach God with those types of questions, or whether he has feelings or not, or whether he has a lover or he doesn't have a lover, or whether he likes virgins or he doesn't like virgins. So in my culture, I speak only of my ancestors and Amatongo and the different messengers that God speaks to, but I do not approach the Almighty. I'm just making an example. We do not approach the Almighty in the same way. And similar, we also do not approach healing in the same way. Some cultures dealing with the symptom or dealing with the pain right now, but some cultures look at the holistic thing. It's okay. You have pain. We can take care of your pain, but then so that you don't come back here with your ailments, can we get to the root of the pain so that when you have this problem, you can deal with it yourself, whatever ailment it might be. Let's get towards our conclusion.
Nkulu,
we need to talk about the dark on top of this man's head. What do you think this dark means?
There's somebody that actually wanted to comment.
No problem.
Yeah, even though I feel like I'm eating a spin in the works towards the end of our session. So
no problem.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think like what you are raising now, especially about what the truth is. I mean, I was just thinking about something as not so simple, but in my mind as simple as when you say to people, you actually don't go to church and you don't believe in the Bible. The first question they'll ask you is, oh, so you don't believe in God? Like to me,
Yes.
It's always so sad that people actually associate the Bible with God, and I feel like maybe we can have another session where we discuss and maybe not even use the word God, because it's almost so difficult. Then you find yourself being defensive. And I think, I mean, it also goes with maturity, right? For me, I've reached a point where now when people will say to me, but if you say you speak to your ancestors, does this mean you don't believe in God? And I actually say flat out, if by you saying God, you mean the God in the Bible, then yes, I don't, the God of Abraham is not my God. And that's it, can we move on? But the fact that, unfortunately, billions of people, we reached a point where we're told this is the truth. And you can see how people fight over that, this is the truth and that's it, And then also when we initially started with the whole discussion, and also now, the reason why I thought about it now, like when you mentioned culture, to me, even the word culture is also another sensitive topic, because when we started about gap and then we spoke about Ikhambi, King, and all those things, it's also touchy to me, because if you think about what's been done, I'm going to speak now South Africa and ignore the rest of Africa. Even the homes that people fight over cultures and our home, and then okay, my mother's, my great-great-great-grand is buried in Benoni, right? So I've always had this thoughts with people who would come from KZ and they'll say to me, but Hloni, and I'm like, no, I mean, Coco is Omo Benoni. Why do you guys feel horrible? Do you realize how, as Africans, we've been moved around so much by colonial masters saying, no, your home is here, your home is here. Why do we hang on to these identities that these Europeans brought upon us, And we fight over them and we say it's a culture. But what culture, I mean, even right now, recently I read about how Queen Victoria, I don't want to call her queen, this Victorian woman from Europe, decided her husband died and she was dressed in black. And somehow that came to us, go Africa, and now it's a culture. So the word culture, it makes my blood boil, because
I always use the word cultures.
Yes, we hang on to these truths without even asking ourselves, if this is a truth, it's our guy, okay, this is the truth, but based on what, surnames. We fight over surnames so much. Hey, when a child born out of wedlock, surnames, what? But did we really use surnames? Are surnames not linked to some tech system? There's so much in this world where people just hang on to these truths. Is this the truth? Can we ask ourselves? But anyway, sorry for
You know what Hloni is
100%.
You know what Hloni is saying is very profound, because right now we are in the season where we are currently doing. Sorry, is there somebody talking?
No, talk.
So I was saying that it's very profound that Hloni raises these issues, during the season of Ugep. Ugep is for grounding earth, and the chakra that is associated with, I did mention earlier, is the root chakra, which is located right but in ngasesibelethweni, which is, it has to, ngasenkabeni, which it has to do with your heritage, your ancestors, isiduko sakho. I don't, Basotho, they will help me by telling me ukuthi isiduko ngeSotho, or anybody from another culture will tell me ukuthi yini isiduko in another language, because I think it's very important that we diversify in terms of how we mention things as well. Understand when somebody else is talking about something else. And I am of the view that Menzi, this is actually the correct season to actually have a discussion about the differences in between these adopted things that we now refer to as culture and not that are actually not part of our culture. I remember having a discussion with somebody and said that women in my culture don't change their surnames when they get married. They're like, which culture is this one? They made it seem like something so foreign. And I'm like, if Madlamini, just like I am Madlamini, I will forever remain Madlamini. Even Nasemzini, they will call me Madlamini. I will not suddenly become a Maseko simply because I'm married to Menzi. That's something completely foreign. And I was like, this thing of changing surnames came with Home Affairs. Tell me where Home Affairs was during the times of Sopuza and all the other great kings. And I mentioned
not Home Affairs, colonial affairs.
Yes.
They were breaking homes. They were not making homes.
Yes.
Hey,
And I think it, Angos?
Makadi.
Hey,
excuse me, Mkulu. Koko, if she's finished her point, then Mkulu can comment.
Yes,
so you can say whatever.
Yes.
And introduce yourself.
No, he can jump in, because I just wanted to say, Mkulu, maybe we might consider having another roundtable, because we were actually thinking about inviting an elder as a guest, but based on what Hloni is saying, I think it's an important discussion for us to have,
just to talk about it directly.
Yes, instead of inviting an elder to come and speak, can we just sit down and have this truthful conversation about which things have we adopted that are not actually our culture and suddenly embedded and made our culture forcefully, like the thing of changing surnames and wearing rings and we bypass the real tradition, which is introducing your partner to Edlozin. You bypass that and then you run to pay 75 rand at Home Affairs. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay, now give thanks. The next speaker can speak. Kuluma.
Okay. Yes, greetings everyone. Give thanks. Yes, I think that the important thing is to know that maybe all these words are vessels, so their meanings can always be changed. They're always changing. So that's why sometimes, just like with the life and so forth, we more like to trace the root of something. So the interesting part about the word root is that you can spell it R-O-O-T, and there's a particular understanding currently, which is to do with the roots, like with plants and all that. And you can also spell it R-O-U-T-E, which is to do with the root, the way that something has come to be wherever it is currently positioned. So I'm saying it's the same thing with words. So there's a current understanding of the word culture, but to maybe get a more rounded view of it, you try to trace its roots. So really, if you look at it in another sense, culture is just the way we live right now. So how we live right now is different from the traditions that we may carry on in the moment of now. So a lot of times people are conflating or confusing traditions and culture. So right now, if we really talk of, even here I am in Harare and so forth, if we talk of the culture of so-called Shona people, even that fact is that there was something which was created and fabricated for colonial reasons, similar to where you are, which created this Shona bracket and so forth. But it now exists in the way people live. So it is now the culture somehow. And there are certain things which you can now observe so-called Shona people doing, which that's the way they live. It's the culture. But yet at the same time, there are traditions within the way that they live, which they've carried on. So some of the things that they are doing, which you observe them living like now, are traditions which have been passed on from ancient times. And some things are syncretic and they've been adapted and created as a response to the current times. So the important thing, I think, in life is to know that, like, we are talking of ancestral principles and all these things, like you're talking of Gebu and all this kind of stuff. Ultimately, we are the ones now, we are the representatives. Even the word says represent, and it includes the word present. So we are the ones of those people and those energies and principles in the present. And if there were things that they were carrying out then, which were of importance and of response to the lifestyles and the conditions that they were living in and the places that they were living in, they were creating ways of responding to life, which is the dynamic process of culture evolving and culture coming into being. If they were doing that, and we are also living in true honor of them, we are supposed to be,
we should be present
in that same, yes, in the present. Whatever all these things, like we are supposed to be responding to life as it is now. We are the representatives. So we are supposed to be creating now appropriate culture. So once we start to move to that, we then start to move towards the actual thing of which the principles, which is what we are now, because what we can carry on really, or what we can try to connect with, are the values. Even
the
beyond
values.
principles, it's the values. So now we have to understand the values by which, when certain cultural or traditional or practices and things we read about, mythologies, legends, we are always going down what archetypes are being described, what values are trying to be transmitted. Then we can see, even in conditions which are different now, where those values apply, and then how to also put into practice things that respond to our current conditions, but still can transmit and uphold those values, because certain values are archetypical, because they are beyond time, they are beyond whichever cultural context and so forth. So I think this is where the real important part, like now there's a lot of traditions, like here we have even these Lobola Rora and certain types of quote-unquote cultures and traditions, which are now abusive, because during the time they've been tainted by the concept of money and other types of things and colonial concepts. They've been tainted by the concepts of an externalized, externalized power, in terms of even our spirituality, the God in the sky, some deities which are in the devil in the ground, demons, which even the couch spirituality, as we talk of it here, in terms of a lot of our sangomas and so forth, are even also embroiled in perpetuating that, when a lot of these things were dealing with internal principles which are present in every being. So what I'm trying to say is, we are even currently carrying on many things under the banner of so-called even our own culture and traditions, which really are no longer responsive, or they are now detached from being responsive, and on top of that, they are now totally divorced from the values that were being trying to be transmitted. So I think it's very critical now for the minds to be much more sharper in really trying to always try to deduce what the values were in whatever things that they were doing, and also be brave enough in the present to start to create appropriate culture. So that's what I just wanted to put in there.
Ashe. Did not end Mukoma. That's everything that you said is absolutely apt. It's absolutely apt. It's because, especially when you mentioned the issue of presence, for me, that's what grabbed me more than anything. To say that if we are saying we are representative, even whether are we representative of our ancestors, or are we representatives of the values that they lived? And also, we are not going back in time. We're not trying to go back to anything. We have to respond to issues in the present time. We have to represent. If our ancestors were great at something, we must represent that. But if they were not so great at something, because sometimes we have this thing of defying our ancestors, making them to be greater than what they actually were, just because they did, or just because they've transitioned from the physical body into spiritual bodies. There's a whole lot of things, people have access to different kinds of messaging, even from their own ancestors. And some people try to impose their own ancestral ways or try to impose their own messages onto other people, So, there's the topic that you are raising. I think it needs its own time again. Like we can have either yourself and somebody else, maybe all you with all of us, all of us basically. I'm saying all of us can get together and actually discuss these things, still maybe within the season of gap, and find my issue really most of the time is always trying to find other ways to say. And right now we're using ancient Egyptian codes, languages. When you say gap, even though we can say gap and mageba are interrelated, or gap and umhlaba are interrelated. Like, there are surnames in Southern Africa called Umhlaba. There's Umhlaba in Zimbabwe, there's Umhlaba in Mozambique, Malawi, Zambia, there's Umhlaba even in different places. But what does it mean? And where does it come from? Those various things. So we can discuss, we can reason, but more than discussion, there's something that me and you, just between me and you, my brother, Tanganyika Munye, there's this thing of communion, us getting together, coming into each other's homes. Earlier, I was speaking about the word imikosi. Now, imikosi are, the rough English translation will be festivals, but it's not about the festival, just the event. It's about actually the energy that we generate when we come together. And we are not doing a lot of get-togethers. The get-togethers that we are doing, they are full of loud music. If it's jazz, I like jazz, but I go to the jazz music concerts sometimes and I'm like, it's not the way it used to be. People are sitting down listening to this music by these experts, but when the guys are actually composing the music, the aim is to get people to move together, commingle together, do something together to create a particular energy. So I think we aim to elevate our conversations here on Ikhambi towards communion beyond just the conversation.
Well, also now you see. Oh, sorry. I'll let the lady speak. Yeah, I was just going to respond something, but you can speak. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to make sure that everybody who is here is on the mailing list, because I know some of you get email reminders when convening. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody who's here is on the mailing list. And if you're not, please drop your email address so that we add you on the mailing list. Yeah, on the chats, please drop your email address. For those who are on Facebook, you can inbox your email address if you're not comfortable with dropping it on the comment section. You can inbox your email address, and then so when we convene, we able to send you a email invite.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Also because the times we are living in at present really call for the representation of the ancient values. So because right now, you see, if you are just watching and feeling, even if you are not following the mainstream distractions, but even if you are tuned in on the spiritual side of things, a lot of great movement and activities happening. So this is very much a time to be present, and it's a very much a time to activate and to be doing. So even in terms of this, there are certain, and it's also a time to reimagine and recreate a lot of the stuff that is going to now become a reality, even in terms of how people will be living, i.e. the culture. This is the time when culture, there's a great opportunity to form relevant culture, which has got relevant values. But it also requires a fearlessness to break away from things that had become common, they become culture and habit, but they were divorced from value. and they were distorted. So to break away from those things which have become a way of life, have become culture and habit, to actually now say, no, we shall now start to do this or try this, because looking at the values, this makes more sense, and etc. It requires a certain level of bravery and fearlessness, because you are also somehow going into unknown territory in some ways, because when you're creating new things, you're creating new possibilities. So a lot of times that can be fearful to people. It's like even dealing with starting to actually practice not leaving our children in the hands of the certain types of institutionalized education. You still have those comparisons, because you yourself went through some of those processes. Some of your child's compatriots will be going through those things, and sometimes they come and talk about this, and you compare and you say, but my own child is maybe not speaking. But you have to remember, it's a long-term process. You're doing something in the long term. The point is also you're trying to divorce them from a certain methodology of how people approach information and so forth. They are trying to actually take them out of a certain, because sometimes it's not even the information they put into in the education system, but it's the way that the methods of acquiring information that you learn in that system and so forth. So there's a lot. So when you're going through it in practice, there can be a lot of things that can make you fearful, or you question yourself and so forth. But you have to remember the long-term process and the values that you're actually trying to enshrine. So this is now part of, that's just one example. But in most spheres of our life, we need to reconnect with the values and be fearless enough to start to originate culture that is appropriate. And I think really that's where sometimes we can be lagging behind. Because if you see the Babylon system and what it is currently doing, and all its propaganda about resetting and all that, they're exactly trying to mimic the spiritual time that it is. Because in the spiritual time, we are supposed to be recreating and reimagining. We're supposed to be breaking down old structures, or even sometimes ignoring them and starting to create new ones. So while we sometimes are being a bit scared and we are being oscillating, the Babylon system in itself is going full steam ahead with trying to ride that wave of the current time, the current season, to try to reimagine and recreate a different kind of culture and dynamic in the world. So this is why I'm saying that really this is a real time for a lot of action. It's a real time to actually be moving in the full power of our ancient divinity. So that's the thing. So it's a time to create new culture, really.
You know, I like that when you say that, because what a lot of us actually forget, it's okay, how information and how these cultures got passed on, it was through verbal communication or through teachings from our elders, and it got down from generation to generation to generation. Somewhere along the line, the code was lost in some instances, and sometimes we continue doing practices that no longer serve us, forgetting the true purpose of that of practicing that thing within the culture. And probably whatever the reasons that may have arisen for us to have practiced that in the past has now it no longer is in existence. But now, because we're hanging on to an incomplete code, and we are continuously trying to enforce things that were created to serve a particular purpose. And I love that when you say being creative and representing who we are, because we sometimes some things in 2022, they probably do not serve any purpose, because they were created to serve a particular purpose back then in the ancient times.
Exactly. Because if you really look at it, even when it comes down to adornment, even if you look at some of the things that we wear, some of the places that jewelry would be, even that word I would want to use, but where some of those crystals and different kind of minerals and elements would be placed on the body, the way would etch which meridians will be tattooing and so forth. All those things were certain responses to certain things. You have parts of, even up to now, the Oromo peoples in parts of Ethiopia. You have the ones who are living in Namibia, the Himbas. There are certain people who have maintained a certain level of retention, and we appreciate the retention. And as I'm saying, even though some of the retention is now out of context, but it is there sometimes to serve as a reminder. You will see that some of the things they practice can be so different. There are so many sexual practices, sexual rituals that, you know, when we're talking to certain people, you'll be thinking, you know what, if you actually knew the range of things and ways that our people would express themselves, then you would be even more blue in the face, because there's so many different things that were happening. But each of those things, if you take it out of context, you can look and be so surprised. Why would they even do that? Why was it like that? How can you do that? But if you are living in the time and you are responding to what they had to respond to, because certain things, even now we're hearing all this of climate changing and so forth. Then I'm walking around Harare here and you see the older 60-year-old man. He's dressed in black shoes. He's got a big pair of woolen socks. He's got this whole type of trousers and a suit and a tie and something, a jacket and a blazer. And for him, he's looking smart and so forth. And he's now used to it. And he's walking around, oh, you're dressed smartly. But he's in the heat of this weather, which is already even getting hotter. He's now, you understand, it's like at a certain point, someone has to be brave enough to remove some of those things. Say, look at the temperature, look what we're dealing with now. We cannot dress in this way. It's no longer appropriate. In fact, at a certain point, it was not even appropriate, but it was a distortion. So even how we dress was a response to where we are. But now, in a sense, we're now responding to magazine articles and fabricated kind of culture or fabricated external stimuli, as opposed to being in the present and being in our environment and evolving even attire that is responsive to our climate and our weather and our comfort. So we're, you know, there's too many things. So there's a lot to do right now. That's the bottom line for me, I think.
All right, Zamagu. So I just wanted to close the session at this point, and I just saying that we need to continue this conversation further. But however, time is really not on our side. If you are not on, if you came to this meeting without receiving an email, and you want to receive emails moving forward, you should drop your email address in the comments section, and then I will add you on the mailing list. And then if, Mkhulu, do you have any parting words before I close the session? Do we still have Mkhulu?
No parting words except to say, Ashe, let the words that are spoken today empower us. Let them be magic with a K. Empower us to be the best that we can be. And for me, everything that my brother Munya was saying is just pure Jahuti. He's got many names. You also call him Jahuti and Tanganyika. Everything that he was saying, he has not changed from, I think, 4 years ago when I first met him. He's not mincing his words when it comes to these things of our being and our well-being as African people. Let's respond to the things that we are facing today. Our ancestral knowledge is just wisdom for us. For those who can get it and for those who can acquire it through whatever means, either via home or via trance when you are in a trance state, or via meditation or via a gathering. Let all these things be gathered so that we can actually really rebuild ourselves, starting from self and our families, not just our families in the nucleus that has been created by these systems that we live under. We must think of family beyond just the nucleus that you've created here. All our families extended throughout the continent, especially the continent of Africa, because we always insist that our primary focus as Ikhambi is not all of humanity. For now, at this present moment, our primary focus is so-called Black African people's healing. Once we heal ourselves, then we can start to think about the rest of the people in the animal kingdom called human. So with those words, I'd just like to thank everyone who's contributed, thank everyone who's observing, not observing, who's looking, who's viewing through various parts of social media, and thank Nkosi and Brother Mohaile and everybody. Let's continue this conversation and make sure that as abantu, we return fully into ourselves, because there is so much power in who we are, and it is not arrested. Steve Biko said, let's not our culture be defined from outside. Let us recreate our culture according to the needs of the day. This is what Steve Biko said. And also think, my words would be that we are not just here for, being present is absolutely important, but we are eternal beings. We have futures way beyond this Babylon system that we are existing under. So we can start placing the building blocks now beyond this.
Sorry,
Mkhulu wants to say something. I'm sorry,
well,
Mama,
just a quick,
Mankos, maybe he wants to say something, Mkhulu.
Okay, sorry, just a quick thing, just to say, I just want to challenge all of us in this way, because really, when we were talking even about foreign principles and things we adopt and all that kind of thing, sometimes I understand where it can be difficult, because if you are also the source of things, or you're part of the root stock of most things, it means that you bet many of those things in their various, some of them get distorted, some of them take full shape. So I'm saying it's very easy for us to welcome and embrace many things and to see how they are connected to us, because we are the root source. But also at the same time, it becomes more important for us to really distinguish distortion, because I think that is the thing, mutation as opposed to evolution. Because there are things where we have evolved. Oh, we can see that principle, it's now come back in a different shape, but it's an evolution of something that came from us. But some of the principles are mutations and distortions. It means now they have expressed themselves in a way which is conflicted or not integrated. It does not hold, like we said, some of the practices which we are doing, it does not hold the value. So everything is not connected from root to the expression. There is some distortion now. It is no longer integral. It's not integrated. So that becomes the challenge for us to see things which we are doing and which we are adopting, which are not integrated, where we cannot say from the value to the expression, there is a direct connection which makes it make sense. So that becomes part of the rationale that we can use to distinguish. But importantly, a lot of times we are now trying to make sense and rationalize and give shape to a lot of burdens and a lot of parameters that have been imposed on us. So even now, a lot of us were speaking from these urban environments and so forth. Even here in Zimbabwe, we have townships, we have the ghettos, even using that word Zimbabwe, all of this kind of nonsense. We have the suburbs, we have the, but you see, even when you're in the suburb, you're behind these certain type of walls, a certain type of quote-unquote security, which is insecurity. You don't see your neighbors. You don't have the day-to-day contact of your people. When you're in the townships, you have the people, but you're on top of each other. And then at the same time, you're living with limited space and no access to any space where you can produce. So on both sides of the coin, one may see one is better than the other, but you're still trying to make sense of a parameter which is not integrated with your being. Because our beings, we would be moving together. Because I was bringing this to the point of communion. I think my challenge was to say, right now, we need to be grouping together into actual communities. And we need to be now going onto a blank canvas into spaces and committing to land and spaces where we can actually begin to paint the picture as it's supposed to be. Because a lot of times we are reacting to imposed conditions. We're trying to find ways, even in the township and even in the cities, to now say, okay, since we're in this condition, okay, if we do this, if we do that, and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we have an opportunity now in the present to paint a new canvas. People used to move. They didn't respect any of these fake borders and so forth. They used to move. They used to group. We are now having to create intentional communities. We now have to create this thing intentionally now from the value and say, you know what, I need to live amongst others who are doing ABC. We need to create, we need to join, we need to unify certain things. People are making spiritual choices now. This is all this stuff that has been going on with the so-called planting and whatever, as you know. There's a lot of people who are already choosing. Some people, you would talk to them and think they are on this side of the coin or understand this, but they're choosing this way and that way. It means, even as I said, the Babylon system is at the moment working with that principle of intention. So we need to now use the intention to come together, as we said, the communities, to actually community, to actually form unified blocks where we are now putting and creating the things that we need to create for the future things. So this is why I said there's really a lot of work to do at this time. So I just wanted to emphasize on that communion part that, yeah, that's why fragmentation was a large part of the agenda that was imposed on us, so that we cannot commune and bring about that unity of purpose. That is what actually leads to real culture.
All I can say is, I'm going to repeat Bob Marley's words. As it has been said already, let it be done. That is the final word for today. You will catch this live transmission on our YouTube page. Please go there, like our YouTube page, share it, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going. And Ikhambi is planning many visitations and gatherings. We've been planning these things since our establishment. Some of them we've done, but we got a whole lot that has not been done. We need to gather. We need to go to Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia. We need to go to Aswan. We need to go to the Congo. We need to go and learn on the ground with our people. We need to go to KwaZulu. And we need to go to the oceans and the rivers and the lakes. And more than going there, we need to help each other build our families and build our communities in the way that we know is necessary for us. Ashe.
Yes.
With those words,
and if not theoretical, I
we will
invite you
chat
all
again
anytime.
offline, and we will take care of ourselves and take care of the things that we need to take care of. Ashe.
You're all invited. Yeah, good. Give thanks.
We are coming.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Come. Even if you arrive tomorrow, all of you are welcome. Very straight away. That's what we have to do now. You can come anytime.
Siyeza, ungabi naxhala, ungakhathazeki siyeza.
That's what we are creating.
Now we have to close the electronic session. We will do
no problem.
the other session
all right.
in due time, my course.
All right.
Holding space with us for everybody that has come. Thank you so much. You will check emails, check our Instagram page for the next session. We are still within the month of the season of Father Earth. Love and light, beloveds.